How did I would say my since really young, my dad actually liked to bring me to the cinemas. So like when as a young kid, you kind of like entered into this really dark room and you see this big screen, and it was just very amusing for me at that time, and it got me really curious. And the interesting thing is, my dad likes to watch movies a lot. So the kind of films he exposed me in the past were beyond my age as well. So I think that also sort of like helped build up my maturity in like understanding cinema. And when I watch movies, I I think one thing that really left a strong impact on me is the emotional connection I had with what was going on screen. And from that feeling, it kind of like made me decide to enter this industry and to want to like make films myself. But I wouldn't say that I started becoming a director. I only like started directing since like 4 years ago. Before that, I was mainly doing casting. So like casting for directors. But I've been fortunate to be attached to like some really amazing filmmakers and to just learn from them. And um, through the process of like growing up, I've been fortunate to be exposed to a lot of various type of films and even different mentors. I think some workshops and labs that I've been selected for and that sort of like changed my life was in Korea, Japan, and also like this lab I did with Api Chapong 2 years ago at the Amazon rainforest just changed my life about how I view life and cinema. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a huge world, because we say cinema, and when we talk about it, we just think about the directors and the actors, and that's it. There is a lot of people working behind the scenes, and I know it's a complex world, but it's really like exposing yourself. If you are a creator in that way, when you are a director, you expose yourself, and it's a huge commitment to make a short film, to make a feature film. So which part do you enjoy the most about filming?
I would say the process of making the film. I think for me, it's surrounded by a creatives and to create like for everyone to like create this art piece together. It's such a fulfilling process for me. And although I would say that it's never easy, I mean, the process is always transforming, it's always changing. But I think that's the beauty, and it has taught me a lot of values in life as well. To just learn to be open and to listen to everyone as well, and just sort of like move together to create this piece that you never really know where it'll go. And I come to realize that it doesn't really matter. I think like what was more important is everyone just feel happy and they just feel empowered making it.
Yeah, because I guess that it never ends the same as you had thought. So I wanted to ask you about this, because your short film, it's called WordsandWorlds, it's kind of an experimental piece, really. It's not the usual thing you get to watch in a short film, and there are tons of layers to talk about. And so your first idea, the thing that you had in mind, is similar to the thing that we got to see, or it's changed a lot?
the first idea I had in mind was just an image uh, of a snail moving from
Mhm.
one end of the other to the other. I never really like had a lot of texture added then, but like
Mhm.
there was this feeling that I felt very strongly towards, and it in a sense it's also like a protest to my country's fast-paced society. And after like being overseas for a period of time, and when I came back to my home country in Cine,
Mhm.
I just felt this time dilation effect, and it was somehow made me like when I watch a snail move, almost therapeutic, and I could feel an emotional connection with it. It's a bit strange, but like I don't really know why, but like that feeling sort of like for some time, I just knew that I really wanted to make a film about it, and the thought of making a film about snail uh, makes it a lot more like interesting in many ways. And I didn't have any script for the film,
Mhm.
so the crew was like, Zach, how are we gonna make this? Like it's just not a very straightforward type of filmmaking process. But I had a lot of trust from
Mhm.
them, and I really started with just the image and that feeling. And as we were making the film together, it's going back to the belief I mentioned earlier, like how like we all just come together and like just try to like throw ideas and to make sense of like what matters to us personally, and that's where the story expanded. I remember the whole film took about 6 months, and it wasn't like as if we shot in uh, chronological days. Like we probably
Mhm.
shoot for one day, and then we took like probably like a month break. But during the month break, we were like trying to figure out how to like expand that feeling we had, and then we went to shoot again. So in a sense, it was a small crew. It was low budget, but it was just very intimate and just very nice to be in that space where we are given the chance to just create what makes sense to us, or maybe what doesn't make sense to us. But like there wasn't really any stress or like any like industry like forcing us to like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. We just really want to create something that was important. Yeah.
Yeah, because at the beginning we have some type of images, we have some music,
Mm,
some silhouettes,
mm,
and then maybe at the beginning you don't understand
mm.
how it's going to go
Yep.
from that moment. Yeah, but as you get maybe a few minutes in, you start showing other images, you mix sound, you put stills, and then you've
Yep.
got words. And
Yep.
I think, for me at least, when I was watching it, that when I got to the words, it just like everything sink in, like I understood, or I thought I understood what I was watching previously, as there is a meaning, there is a depth, but you need those words in this case, or maybe you or someone in the crew to tell you the
Mm,
importance of the first images to get to know what is going to happen or the meaning behind those words. And of course, I wanted to ask about the snail and the radio because it's kind of what is doing this here, but you
yes.
already answered that. So there are other objects that goes into the film, and I wanted to ask you about them. So if you could explain kind of like the meaning behind them, because you chose the snail and the ground, and you've got the camera as well. You've got the silhouette, the dancing moves, but you also have, and I think that's a very powerful image, the screen, that's all TV with the words on it.
Mm.
So how did you end up creating that part to be so powerful? to reach so much?
I think for me it really stems on this experience I was trying to create about like how we or how I personally relate to time. Um, and it's a very abstract thought because if you think about everyone relates to time very differently. But like for example, I don't really know how to explain, but if I were to give an example, if you have nothing on later today and you're just waiting for someone, time moves slow. But if somehow you have an appointment later and you are rushing a deadline, time moves fast. And to me, that was something like I really, really wanted to understand. And it was just at the, especially living in like Singapore, it just time just moved really fast. And actually, a few days ago, I was on a trip in Bali, in Indonesia, and for some reason, right, although like we share the same time zone, right, time was moving slower than I thought. And this film is really an expression of that. That's why at the opening, right, my interpretation of really to show movement as a way to communicate time. That's why you kind of see the crowd moving, and then you kind of see this dancer sort of like just subverting from everyone else, just to try to challenge societal norms and be different, and to see how that perception of time changes. And what I also realize is that when we watch a snail move from one end to the other in real time, it's usually slow. But if there are words on the film, our attention tends to be focused on the words or even the sound. And then before you know it, the snail has moved from one end to the other already. And I thought that is sort of like a psychological effect that I hope that the audience will sort of like experience, and really for them to like decide how they want to perceive time. I feel that there is a lot of openness in this film that I do my best that film shouldn't try to like a statement out, but rather like raise more questions for viewers to interpret and think about. But that's just my personal preference. Yeah.
Yeah, but you are showing it in a new festival just on the other side of the world now. It's the FICPBA, so it's world premiere, and I really think that even with all the distance, it's something that you watch and you understand. Maybe not everything just like you thought it would pass on to
I think
spectators.
it's okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you speak Spanish, if you speak English, if you speak German. It doesn't goes like that. You get to the part where it sinks. It's really heavy sometimes, and for me, I realize how profound, how heavy it was as I heard the babies crying. Just like, yeah, for at the end, I really thought that was a nice touch, because it kind of goes, at least for me, like something light at the beginning. You see that movement. It's stressful, but it's moving, and then you get the girl, and you feel like it has a stop, and then you read the words, you hear the words, because I really like hearing but reading as well. It's just like it's deeper that way, and it's kind of calm. But then you get to the babies crying, and it's like, oh, the world is ending. Yeah, it's kind of like, whoa,
It's going
it
down.
goes. Yeah, it's like that, and I really really enjoy that. So I'm also so curious. So what are your expectations at this festival? How are you coping with all of it?
I have no expectations. I'm actually very grateful for it to be part of it this year. And I'm just very excited for this film to be able to screen. And yeah, I personally as a filmmaker, I really like to see how audience react. And I'm very open to it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Okay. So would you be there watching
Oh,
it?
I I don't think I'll be there. Yeah, but I
Okay.
have some friends who will be there. So they're gonna be supporting on my behalf. Yeah,
That is
I would
fantastic. If
really
some,
love to be there. Yeah.
maybe they can record some of it or some
Yeah,
impressions. Yeah, and they can
yeah.
send it to
That's
you.
nice. Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, I look
So
forward to it.
yeah, I guess it's going to be fantastic. One more question, if you have time. I have plenty of questions,
Oh,
so if you have the time, yes.
I have time. I
Okay,
have time. I have
okay,
time.
perfect. Because I wanted to know as well, because I think
Mm.
sound is really important in this short
Yes.
film.
Yeah.
Because images are really powerful, but we were talking about those babies crying and
Yeah.
how sound affected me. And did you had in mind some sounds, or did you come up with them when you recorded?
It's actually a bit of both. To me, I I was certain that I really wanted to be very present with this ambience that is very known in Southeast Asia. And the idea of noise has always been very intriguing to me. That's why this film, in a sense, try not to have too much music, as much as possible. Um, so that was the inspiration that sort of like started it all. But as I was talking to my sound designer and the audio post team, I was really communicating more feelings, and they sort of like just build on what I had, and this is what we kind of like created together. So we were exploring a lot of like interesting sounds and noises to sort of like push the story forward as well. And there is a whole meaning to the narrative of the words. But of course, it's very subjective interpretation. So we wanted to see how the sound sort of like can change through the process of as the snail moves, and to see where it leads us to eventually the baby crying and what that actually meant to all of us as well. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, because I guess you can interpret like a
Yeah.
baby like a new thing.
Yeah.
When it's crying, you get stressed. So it's kind of like it's moving. Is continuously. You are continuously thinking what is going to be,
Yeah.
what I'm going to watch next. So
Yeah.
it's kind of unexpected that way, and it keeps you like invested in what you are watching. Are you thinking about creating this type of short film in the long run? Are you thinking of maybe exploring it a little bit more, or you think this one's was an experiment? It's been perfect. We've learned a lot. We are going to try something different next.
Hmm. I actually have two films I'm working now. I wouldn't say they're experimental films. They're actually more like screen dance films. So it still explores movement and dance, but like I think for me, my end goal is still to do a feature film, which in a sense is still a narrative. But I do hope to bring in that that feeling of abstraction as well, so that it just doesn't feel like it's a conventional narrative. And I think like making films like Words and Worlds really gives me this chance to just experiment and explore, like you said. Will I stop? No, but like, will I keep doing this forever? I don't think so as well. I'm still like gonna explore different genres and but I think in terms of like emotional connection and thematics are more important to me as I sort of like eventually build up to my feature development idea. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, do you have any pictures, images, I don't know, maybe films that you
Mm.
have in the package of your mind that help you focus on what you want to do? Because we need inspiration.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
for sure. So,
Mm. For Words and Worlds or just in general?
Yeah, you can use
Oh,
Words and Worlds and then keep it going. Yeah,
okay.
but you
Mm.
arrived at Words and Worlds and it was like a
Mm.
clear image. It was the snake,
Yep.
it was the
Yep.
ground, it was the camera. So you've got that, the radio, you've got that. And maybe in the long run, 30 years from now, someone would ask you, why that? This is
Mm.
what people watch, or maybe someone would
Oh,
watch that and
I,
will see that as an inspiration. Did you have that for you?
mm. I think I've mentioned also that recently I've been like into mixed media and film installations as well. Words and Worlds does open up that possibility of like me like exploring the like something like expanded cinema and to see like to tell stories about experiences. And I think like one of my biggest inspiration was is Api Chapong. Um, he's he's a Thai filmmaker as well, but he also does like film installations, and his imagery and sound are very interesting in the sense that it relies a lot on like ordinary circumstances, but it tells a very compelling like emotion to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Api
Just
Chapong is one of my favorite directors. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, because sometimes we need to draw, or even if we
Yeah.
do not realize at first, it's like we always come back. So it's
Yeah,
good
you're right. Absolutely.
that you have that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but in general, I loved that I had the sense I was watching something different. I really love going to contemporary art museums and the installations, the video projections. I always love them, but sometimes it takes me back because it's like I'm not comfortable watching it there. But I was watching it on a screen with the sound on my own. I really got immersed, so I could enjoy the whole process. And I really hope that with time you get to do as many movies as you'd
Yeah,
like.
hopefully.
Yes. And I really hope that you called us so we can talk
I
about
will.
them in the
I will.
future.
I will.
Yes,
I
yes,
will.
because I would love
Oh,
that.
I forgot to mention one more director is Tarkovsky. I think it's
Please,
just at the back of my mind, some in most of my work. So got to mention. I've just put on the private chat group.
okay, fantastic. Let me check it out. Okay, I don't think I can read that out loud without without trying it a few times on my own. So yes, I will definitely check it out. It's quite difficult.
It
Spanish
is.
is
Even I struggle
not
sometimes.
that difficult, I would say. Yes, but for sure I will check them out.
Okay. Bye
Okay,
bye.
bye bye.